I've done so much work on my engine trying to work out why I've got a high pressure warning, and here we go again. Turned off the engine after running it again. So the engine's running okay. I can't get a engine oil pressure sensor here. I just can't find it. I have walked all over this fucking island and been to every shitty little car shop, hardware, anything that could possibly sell sensors for machinery. So it could still be a sensor that's playing up, and that's one option. It's an old motor, very simple sensor. The other option, someone said to me, when I was cleaning the engine, is to take off the rocker cover and run a brush down through the oil channels. It could be a blockage in there, and there still could be. So I do have a spare rocker cover gasket, so because I'm here anyway, I'm gonna pull the fucking rocker cover off and try that. I've got some different size clear tube that I can run through those channels and make sure there's no blockages. I don't have any brushes. And then the other one is the oil pressure relief valve, which I've pulled out twice now, and I haven't been able to get the valve out. I'll get the cap off and the spring off, but I can't get the valve out. So it could be stuck. It could just be a prick of a thing. But to get the valve out, or the cap off, it is right in there, that little dome-shaped cap, and it's under tension as well, so it makes it a fucking treat. It's there's not much room. The engine's still hot, so I'm gonna need to give that a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna have another go at that. Pull that out, spray it full of CRC. So that's about the only option I have. And I'm gonna do the rocker cover, which is pretty straightforward. It's only 2 bolts. Take it off slowly, and and I'll probably replace the gasket because I have a new gasket. And then check the oil returns. So yeah, that's my day. I should be doing something far more fucking constructive, but I am learning a lot about my engine at the moment, and I have pretty much done the whole cooling system, following up problems with it overheating. So it was initially a crack in the oil return cooler in the end cap. So both of them had little cracks. So I don't have any of them. I couldn't find any of them. I spent 2 days looking. So I've ordered some from Australia. I've gasket gooed, silicon gasket maker those up, and that seems to have worked, and some silicon tape. I've got one hose which is a bit dodgy, but might get me to the end of the season. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there. Maybe a small bike tube, which is not going to be fantastic, but it's not under a lot of pressure. It's more vacuum, so I probably need to put a pipe inside the bike tube, seal it down, and the piece of pipe would stop it from collapsing. I think that would work. Been thinking about how to make this work if something fails. Replace the end cap on the manifold, like the heat exchanger, and I've tried to repair the other one in case the new one, or not, it's new, it's a second-hand one, but I kept it as a spare in case that fails, because it's been on the boat for a long time. But I might have just got a bad batch of new ones, so mine are only 3 years old. So yeah, and then I was having problems with sometimes the engine would start, but it was lacking fuel, and so it'd been there's an air leak in there somewhere, so it was leaking back. And I've went through the whole fuel system, checking all the connections, and the only thing I could point to was the fuel lift pump. So one option was to override it with an electric one and just force fuel through it, which is an option, but I still like the fact that it's manual. and I have pulled it out, cleaned it, because there's a fair bit of crap inside there, and there's a bit of silicon. Someone had bodged something up previously, so I cleaned it all out. I put in better quality gasket makers and gasket cements, put it back together, filled it with fuel, pulled the filters off. There wasn't much crap in the filters as well. I figured you're doing it, you might do the whole fucking thing. You've got to bleed it anyway. So yeah, pulled the filters off, checked those. There's very little stuff in there, but there was a couple of things in the primary filter, which is my water separation filter, so it was doing its job, which I'm glad to see. Put it all back together, primed it all with fresh diesel, and then I've got a suction pump, and I sucked the fuel through up to the secondary filter, which was already full of fuel, and then manually primed it, and then started it, and it ran okay. And it wasn't chasing fuel, like it was fluctuating its RPMs, which I felt was the fuel, because there's nothing else to make it do that unless it's the oil pressure relief valve changing the RPMs in the engine, but I don't know why that would happen. So I was thinking it may be fuel, like it's just getting enough fuel, it's starving fuel, getting enough fuel, starving fuel, and that's changing the engine, which would make sense. And so I ran it, and it stayed pretty solid. The cooling system stayed pretty solid. It wasn't fluctuating, it wasn't bouncing. Like I think that last coupling may have been releasing a little bit of pressure, because it was very, very thin, maybe only a mil left in the wall. So it might have been just, slowly letting stuff out. But it's hard to tell again. So yeah, that's my morning, and my afternoon is going to be filled with cleaning the top of the engine, and then getting under the fucking engine again and doing the oil pressure relief valve, which I'm not looking forward to. It's a shit job, but I'm getting good at it. But I still haven't managed to get the thing out. It's I would love to know how to get it out without actually having to pull the engine down, or maybe pull. I think the only way I could probably do it is to, lift the engine forward and up, take off the sump, and then attack it from the inside, which is a fucking massive job, really big job. I have to pull the whole engine compartment apart, lift the engine, and if I'm doing that, I might as well do all the rings and everything else at the same time. Or pull the whole engine out, get it rebuilt. That's another option as well. It's $4 or $5 grand to have it rebuilt, get it done properly, get it tested up. We'll see. These are the considerations for owning a boat and being your own boat mechanic. So if you are planning on buying a boat and you have no mechanical experience, start fucking learning. Buy a small engine, pull it apart, put it back together, see if it works. Buy a big engine, pull it apart, put it back together, see if it works. And make sure it's a diesel engine. Buy a stuffed outboard motor, pull it apart, make it work. It will put you in good stead when you're out cruising, because you'll have some clue what you're doing, have enough spares to replace nearly everything on your boat that's critical, and that will put you in good stead when shit goes wrong. Have a big drawer full of lotions and potions. That will help. You cannot have enough of this stuff. It will get you out of trouble. Epoxies and 2-pack epoxies for underwater stuff, and even this wood glue. I use wood glue for waterproofing my acrylic Dodger. So it started to get leaking. They used to make biplanes out of canvas and wood glue, so I figured it was a waterproofing agent, and it works a treat, and it's dirt cheap. So you can buy this shit anywhere. It's about the only thing I could buy in Fiji. So I bought some wood glue, and I covered up all the seams with wood glue, and it stopped my seams from leaking, and it waterproofed them. So you got to do what you got to do. But worked for biplanes in World War One, so it's working for Tintin in 2024. Anyway, on to the next engine project. Alright, Well, since I managed to completely destroy the old gasket, and I'm pretty glad I got a new one here, I'm going to put a bit of gasket goo on the bottom so that the new one's got something to stick to, because it came in a bag wrapped up, so it isn't in the best shape to fit. It's under a bit of tension, so I'm going to try and just stick it down, get it to hold the shape that it's supposed to hold, and slowly put the rocker cover on. So I'll just stick the bottom down, because theoretically once that's down it'll stay down. I do say my engine is rather clean. I like it like that. All right. I'm sure I'm doing everything that's possibly fucking wrong when it comes to engine stuff, but hey, I'm the only person here to critique me, and whilst it is that way, I guess it doesn't matter a fuck. Well, it seems to be working a bit. Slowly sticking where it's supposed to go. Almost feel like it's slightly too big for the rocker cover. I guess we'll find out. Back's killing me. Definitely not made to be one of these guys. You look at the old mechanic, it's one of the most underrated jobs. Yeah, these guys do an amazing job, sometimes in really difficult circumstances, working on engines that are getting more and more complicated all the time. You know, this thing here is a dinosaur compared to a lot of the engines out today, and so easy to work on. I mean, if it was anything more complicated, I'd be fucked. But yeah, I marvel at some of the mechanics today, the stuff that they can do. And again, such an undervalued profession, and so essential for how we live in the world. Don't know where to put my spanner. Little shifter will have to do. So, where would you get a fucking rocket cover in the middle of the Pacific? Nowhere. Out of your spares chest. And the only reason I've got a rocket cover, which I wouldn't normally have carried, is because I was having some concerns about changing my rocker. No, valve stem seals. So I needed to change the rocket cover at the same time. It made sense. So I bought one of them. Haven't got around to changing the seals. The mechanic told me not to worry about it. The engine's a bit smoky. He said it's a diesel. Okay, righto. It saved me probably a couple of $1,000, or at least $1,000. Got a lot of mechanic who's just says it's a diesel, mate. It smokes. That's what they do. All right. Pull that down reasonably tight. I'm just going to let it sit there, become one with the seal. And hopefully, when I start the engine, it won't piss out too much oil. Okay. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean, and then I'm going to start it up in a minute. Alright, where are we? I'm trying to get this. Crack that sucker. Now we're going to get it out. Alright, bear in mind this thing's still a touch warm. And this is a pain in the ass to get into. So the idea here is this is spring loaded and we don't want to lose the bolt holding the spring, and we don't want to lose the spring into the bilge, because the bilge is a bit disgusting at the moment. Let's go clean out. And, oh, there we go. Alright, we've got the bolts, and now we've got the spring. Alright, there we go. Without dropping it, almost proud of myself. Okay. Now I'm going to go and feel around, see if I can find a way to get the plunger out. If not, I'm just going to fill it full of CRC, try and lubricate it, and see if, I still don't know if it's a problem where it's moving or not. It doesn't seem logical, but it's an old engine, you don't know. But anyway, that's it in there. That's the retaining bolt. There's no pressure on it. I think the only pressure is placed on the pin, but there may be some way they adjust the pressure on the inside, but there's not in the manual. So yeah, at the moment we're going to have a bit of a clean out in there and see if there's any reason why it would stick. I've been trying to get this out for 2 weeks, and today it came out, and I've sprayed that recess with WD-40 CRC. Last time I put a spray lube in there. This thing is pretty bloody sticky, but it's moving freely. So pressure release valve is moving, and the spring is fine. Everything seems to be working as it should. So that tells me either the engine's fucked or the sensor, and I think it's a sensor. So after all this fucking work, I come back to the sensor, and sensor's working okay most of the time. As the engine gets hot, it starts to fluctuate. So I think it's a sensor. Yeah, engines, eh? Engines and a lack of knowledge about a 50-year-old engine. But hey, we have success today. One more piece in the BMC 2.52 puzzle. Okay, we continue. Now my engine sounds alright, it's running okay, and I'm just bringing it up to temperature.